Swatching up and down when you're next to me, closer as
Yep.
affection
Oh,
me.
bang! Those are our two best.
Took a shot, would you taste it? And if we had a moment, could you?
Good morning, boys and girls. We're here for the day one of the Toyota here on Harris Chain. Cold. It's in the 40s. I don't know. Today could go really good or really get bad. We're gonna fish a bunch of stuff and hopefully it works out. Who knows? Yeah. Just a couple.
Ben McCann, Bradenton, Florida Pro with the day one limits. 8 pounds, 5 ounces, Ben, 8.5. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, guys. It's day two. Just got the boat in the water. Day one, camera issues. I think from when it rained on West Point, it screwed up my charging cord, and so that's why I've been having issues. So got a new charging cord, filmed for a couple hours last night just to see if it'd work. It didn't shut off, so hopefully it'll film all day today. We had a tough day yesterday. Weighed 8 pounds, which I think is potentially the smallest bag I've ever weighed on Harris Chain. So feeling a little disappointed about that. Good news is the lake sucked for everybody. The majority of guys. Some guys caught the crap out of them, but not very many. I'm in 60-something place with 8 pounds. And I think top 50 was maybe 11 or 12 or something like that, 10. I think it was 10. So if I can catch 12 or better, I should be able to cash a check. We're gonna try and do that today, see what happens. We're gonna try and put a decent little bag of 2-pounders together and hopefully get a couple 4+ pound bites, and we should be just fine. So that's the goal. We're gonna go fish hard and see what happens.
Boat number 141. Gotcha, 141.
finally was able to sight fish one of those ones.
stay on. Just stay on. Okay. Need a hand? No, it's okay. You just have to stay on there. Just stay on. See?
Huh?
Stay on the hook. No, I got it. Just stay on the hook. Thank you.
He's good, man.
Yeah, that was a bite I desperately needed. 4 or 5 pounder. This is good to finally catch a real one. Yeah, 4 pounder. Yep. That's her. That's her. That is 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 lights out. That's day 3 all day long. Come here, you big freaking giant. Boat flip. Get you some. Bang.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I needed that so bad. That's freaking day 3. In my brain, I was contemplating leaving so freaking bad, you don't even know it. For the past 2 hours, I want to leave. I got a lucky 4 over there, and I knew I saw like a 7 over there, I saw 4 over there, I saw 3 by some pads, and I was like, dude, they're in here. It's just gonna take a while. I'll start checking new holes. I've never caught a bass right in this zone, in this area before. And gosh, that's a 5 pounder all day long. And I just told myself, okay, be patient, be realistic, don't rush yourself out of here. I said, give yourself till 2:15. 109, gave it another 30 minutes, and just boated the biggest fish so far this derby for me, which is going to change things up for me a lot. Oh, yes. Power rods, 765, does it every freaking time. It's hard to complain. Oh, big thanks to Jennifer Peller for that one. Oh, yes. I'm so thankful for that fish. That puts me at 15 pounds. One more and I'll be like in it. Talk about a call. Oh, there it is. Yep. Little. Just boated another good one. Oh yeah, that's a good call.
There it is. Berkeley Big Bass Bell coming in hot. Ben McCann, Bradenton, Florida Pro. 8.5 yesterday, a limit today. 16 pounds, 5 ounces in the 13th place. 24 pounds and 10 ounces. Getting it done on day 2. Let me get this out of your way. It'll make you a better picture. There you go, man. Here comes Rob.
Well, guys, talk about salvaging a day. We had a much better day 2. Ended up weighing 16.5, 8.5 day 1, which it had us in like the top 10 when I weighed in, and we're just going to slowly decline. But we are almost at the end of the weigh-in, so I don't think we'll be too far down. I think we might get to fish tomorrow. Man, good day. That Power Rod 765 did the damage at the end of the day. Also caught a really nice 4-pounder, and also caught a jackhammer fish right at the end that I think I got on video. So, good day. Pleased with it. I could have done a little better. I did have some opportunities that didn't quite work out, but that's tournament fishing sometimes. So, good day. I think we'll definitely cash a check, and I think we'll definitely be in the mix. We'll see. So, good day 2. Hopefully we get to fish day 3. Good morning, boys and girls. We're here for day 3, Toyota Series here on Harris Chain. Had a good day yesterday, thankfully. Had 16 pounds. That was enough to put us in 19th place and make us in that top 25 cut. So we're gonna go fish today. Hopefully we can do better. I think to have a shot at a top 10, we're gonna need 15 plus. That'll potentially give us a shot. Hopefully today will be a little bit of a better day. It's gonna be kind of warm, and we're gonna get a little more wind, which should be good for what I'm doing. So hopefully we can catch a fish. Do take off here in a little bit and see the starting spot. What's going on, guys? Fixing to take off here. Let's get show on road.
a shot, would you chase it? And if we had a moment, could you face it? Cause if I had the chance, I would take you there. I think of falling in love, don't you feel it? Starting to believe it. You, yeah, you're making it tough, I need a minute. This is sink or swim. I think of falling in love, don't you feel it? Starting to believe it. took a shot, would you chase it? And if we had a moment, could you face it? 'Cause if I had the choice, I would take you there. I think I'm falling in love, don't you feel it? Starting to believe it. You, yeah, you're making it tough. I need a minute. This is sink or swim. I think I'm falling in love, don't you feel it? Starting to believe it. You, yeah, you're making it tough. I need a minute. This is sink or swim. Love, it comes around when you least expect. No, I don't have no regrets. Hiss you in the face so you don't forget. How could I forget the moment you took off your dress? I'm ready to go. I'm about to explode the night away like a tidal wave. I'm just waiting on you.
Well, guys, what a hectic day. A lot went wrong. It could have gone a lot worse. Thankfully, we made it back safe. I'm gonna end up with like 10 something pounds, hopefully. I'm gonna show you my 2 best fish, which aren't very big fish worthy, but show them to you, and then we're gonna go hit the scales here in a little bit.
You wouldn't like
Those are our 2 best final day fish.
All right, Ben McCann, Bradenton, Florida Pro, 8 pounds, 5 ounces a day 1. We doubled up on them yesterday, brought 16 pounds, 5 ounces day 3. Ben, we've got 5. These 5 are going to weigh 9 pounds, 14 ounces, moving you to 34.8 into 6th place. Good job, man. Had an exciting start this morning. We know about that, but we don't want to talk about that. We're talking about fishing. How did we get our fish in the boat this week?
I honestly, day 1 I started while it was blowing. I fished a lot of moving baits, chatterbaits, and large, like real big speed worms and things, trying to, get a big bag. It never happened. So day 2 I ran to Griffin, fished real slow, fished clean water, fished finesse presentations, weightless, big worms, missile-based destroyer, wacky rig, things like that, and had a much better day with 16 pounds.
All right, man. Who's watching back home or in this crowd you want to say hey to?
Yeah, big thanks to General Propeller. They're my title sponsor for this year. I couldn't be here without them. They'll get everything taken care of, from lower unit repair. They can make you a brand new prop if you need one for a big offshore boat. They do prop repair if you ever ding one up. They're awesome. So big thanks to them, and big thanks to my family and my girlfriend for watching at home.
There's how you do it right there, man. Congrats to you. You got your weight ticket right there, Ben.
Well, guys, just finished up weighing in for day 3 here on a Harris chain for the Toyota. Probably one of the wildest tournaments I've had. Just as far as how things shook out, I am absolutely blown away by what it took to win. I have no clue how the amount of weight that was caught here this week was able to win on a lake like this. I'm gonna go over some of the rods and some of the techniques I was doing. We got a $4,000 check, which is pretty cool. Kind of ready to go home. I wasn't even sure about fishing this tournament going into it. I didn't plan to fish this tournament. It was just like a slot that was thrown on a schedule, and never signed up for it. Never really paid any attention to it, and wasn't really planning to fish it. Got home from Kentucky Lake, pre-practicing up there for the Invitational, and I kind of wanted to fish that event, and I didn't kind of want to, I wanted to. I had trim issues. I didn't have trim. I couldn't find a co-angler. I had like 3 days to do it. I had a really good practice, and I was kind of jonesing to fish something, man. I was like, ugh, I wanted to kind of swing on some fish. So I decided, you know what? I got a weekend. If the weekend's good, I'll stay Monday, and then I can fish early week. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go and see how things would work out. Day 1, I had a good day on Griffin. I probably had in between that 18 to 20 pound range. I had a lot of high 3-4 pound class fish, 6 better fish like that to be exact, and I caught them kind of all over the lake. So I was like, Day 2, I went to Dora and Beau Claire practice. I ended up catching 4 almost 5 pounder in Dora on a chatterbait. Had 2 5+ pound fish come clobber a glide bait on Beau Claire, and I was like, wow, those are 2 decent patterns. I ended up spending day 1 going to Dora and Beau Claire, caught 8 pounds, tough day. First day was a cold front, so that also played into it. Day 2 went to Griffin, caught my weight, went back today. Major mishaps, and ended up catching what I caught and stayed in the exact same place. So honestly, not disappointed about it, but I'll break down each day and kind of how that went along. Day 1, when I fished Dora and Beau Claire,
I'm not a dirty water guy. I personally, my favorite things to do are sight fish and clean water, but honestly, it might sound kind of stupid, but I wanted to get away from that for mainly a confidence perspective. I didn't want to get stuck in the exact same things I do every single time I go to places. I wanted to kind of branch out. I want to kind of try something new, and also I felt like my chance to catch a big bag would have been best on a place like Dora, and potentially maybe throwing a few 1 or 2 lucky big glide bait fish at the end of the day, and who knows, maybe I weigh in 22 pounds or something. So I was really hoping for something like that. That cold front really messed things up, but I ended up throwing a chatterbait. I was fishing dirty water, a big speedworm, a mag speedworm, gambler burner worm, and a chatterbait. I don't have that big speedworm tied on anymore, but throwing on Power Rod 765, Daiwa Tatula Elite 8-to-1, 20-pound Seaguar Red Label, and fishing it slow when it was cold in the morning. And then I picked up a chatterbait and started tossing that around when the water warmed up a little bit. I'm throwing out on a Power Rod 755, literally the best chatterbait rod you can buy for the money. It's as good as it gets. Great for chatterbaits. If you got big traps, 3/4 ounce trap or a 1/2 ounce trap that you want to throw in heavy grass or something like that, killer rod for it. You can throw everything on it. Medium diving crankbaits, all sorts of stuff like Strike King, the Hybrid Hunter, things like that. It's a phenomenal blank for all those things. Spinnerbaits too. It's what I just cashed a check on you, West Point Lake for the Invitationals throwing this blank as well. Daiwa Tattoo Elite 7-to-1, 20-pound Seaguar Red Label, and a white color. I fish white because I'm not a dirty water guy, like I said, and in my opinion, I think they honestly would have probably eaten pretty much any color that stood out a little bit, but in my opinion, white's going to stand out the best in that dark water. It's going to pop the best, it's going to show the best, and so for my confidence sake, I threw white. And that's why I threw in practice as well, and I caught fish on the main lake in Griffin where it was dirty, and on Dora and Butte Clear. So that was my number one, my first setup for day one, and honestly, what I weighed my biggest fish and some very key fish for me on day one when I went to Dora and Butte Clear. Day two, I went to Griffin. I like to fish clean water. I had a pattern I felt like could work, and if it didn't, I was going to go run the main lake. Started fishing it, and it started to work. As you'll see in the video, I almost left, decided to stay, and made it work out and weighed 16 pounds. If I would have known the weights that were being weighed, I honestly would have fished Griffin all 3 days. Day one, day two, day three. Day three was a world of its own, so you know, I'm not going to make any complaints or anything negative about day three. Just happy to be alive. So anyways, day two though, and day three, but day two, I threw a mag trick worm in green pumpkin, a 4/0 EWG Gamakatsu superline hook, Seaguar red labeled 20-pound fluorocarbon, and that was what did the majority of my damage. My biggest fish and several other really key fish came on that guy right there. I also did catch one on that chatterbait setup at the end of the day when I got back out onto the main lake, but I threw that. That's a pattern I actually got a top 10 doing on Harris Chain later in the year. And here's my thought process on why I didn't throw a bigger worm. I like throwing massive worms, like massive, 10, 14, as big as they get. But that's strictly, I like to do that when I'm around post-spawn fish that are hungry, they're on the prowl, they want a really easy big meal, and any big fish is not going to turn that down when it's an 80, 90 degree day and they're dog tired and you put it right in their mouth. They're going to bite it. So it's a little colder, cold front, so I opted for a smaller worm. Daiwa Tattoo Elite 8-to-1. I love to pick up that gear ratio. A lot of those fish, you want to bomb this. A lot of your bites come when it's as far out from the boat as possible because the fish in clean water are very finicky, especially with a lot of boating pressure. Way more than there's ever been in the past. Probably due to some of my videos, I've heard a lot of that, but it is what it is. Power Rod 765 Endurance Series is killer. Great for catching, I mean, I've caught them on a speedworm on it, Carolina rig on it, all sorts of stuff. Great all-purpose rod. You can catch them on a jig, you name it. Power Rod 765 is the bone. So throwing that, weightless, slow, twitching it in potholes and things like that. Sight fish and fish with it. That was my main key. That's where I got the 5 on. Yeah, as you saw, I boat flipped it. That rod can handle a beating. What my second biggest came on, and that 16-pound bag day two, is on the Power Rods 712 Daiwa Tattoo reel, 15-pound Seaguar braid, a little green pumpkin wacky rig,
a Gamakatsu hook with, it was like a weedless one, so I could fish it in really dense stuff if I wanted to. I believe on this one I fished a 10-pound leader. On the other setup I fished a 12. Fished that, caught a 4 on it. It's killer, it's hard to go wrong. This is a phenomenal wacky rig rod. It's great for skipping. I had a really good finish on Champlain doing it. Cash a check up there. Caught a lot of really nice largemouth up there. Super fun rod to fish. You can throw everything from job shots to you name it. Anything finesse, Demiki, whatever, it'll do it. Killer rod, super great, economical price point. Love that blank. Caught a 4-pounder, and actually caught some fish too doing the same technique, but a different rod. I'll show you in a second. Number 4, what I did, and honestly my favorite way to catch them when that water's clean and they're still antsy. Fortunately, it was the cold front kind of screwed this bite up. I wish I got to throw it more. I got to catch some in the morning on day 2 doing it, covering some water. But a swim jig, dude, I'm a swim jig biggest supporter. Love him to death. He's weighed the biggest bags I've ever weighed in tournaments. Caught some of the biggest fish I've ever weighed in tournaments with it. Love throwing a swim jig. If I can catch them every day on it and bust a big Florida bag, I do it on a swim jig. This one happens to be a Beast Coast Fishing Gorilla V2 swim jig. This thing is bad at the bone. Don't quote me on it, but I think the color is dirt money or dirty money. I opt for that because in cleaner water, you want something that's going to imitate a bluegill or be more finesse. When you're fishing something on braid in cleaner water, it's got to be a little more subtle usually. Some sort of a black and blue maybe. As you can tell, this has some black and blue in it, and this is a Gambler Little Easy. It's got a mix of green pumpkin and black and blue. It's very similar to a Superbug color. Kicks butt. I did catch some fish on this. This is a great way to catch Florida fish, especially when it's clean. It's way more finesse than a chatterbait. Comes through everything, works great. Hard not to want to pick up a swim jig, and I love throwing it, and it works great, and that's a really good one with a really solid hook. The reel, it's a Daiwa Tatula Elite again. 7-to-1 on that one. 7-to-1 because you don't want to be moving that thing too fast. You want to kind of let it sink into some of those holes sometimes. So that's a killer reel. 50-pound Tactex Seaguar, and then a Power Rods 734. I have weighed a ton of fish and a lot of money on that Power Rod 734. Best swim jig rod on the market in my opinion. If you can get a diesel still, best rod money can buy. On to the next one. Another wacky rig setup. This one just happens to be an endurance. This is also a 732. It's a little longer. I can cast a little farther than that 712. Same action, very similar blank. It's an endurance. And I just fished this one today because I kind of wanted to make a little bit of farther casts. I fished 12 on this one because some of those fish, they would get buried up in the grass. And same hook, different color. It's got a little bit of blue sparkle. Went to Brooker's Bait and Tackle this morning, picked that up. Actually 2 packs of those. And then I just got Tactex, 15-pound Tactex. Easy peasy, simple Tatula MQ. Killer reel, man. Super easy, 3,000. Beautiful setup. I caught a 7-pound smallmouth on this setup. I can't tell you how many other beautiful, awesome fish I've caught on this setup. Super fun to fish, super lightweight, super easy to skip with. Honestly, some of the best hookup ratios you'll ever get will be with a wacky rig or some sort of a open hook bait, and that throws them very well. Lastly, the thing that saved today for me and kept me in the same place. I caught a 3-pounder on this on the way out. Partially luck. I'm gonna give you a quick little backstory on it because I love him. My dad is not the biggest bass fisherman, the world's biggest supporter, one of the best, honestly, most humble, hardworking men I ever know or ever will know. He's the GOAT. When he'd come fish with me, he didn't know how to fish everything. He'd love to fish a horny toad, a big weightless worm, or a missile-based destroyer. This one happens to be in Superbug. I'm gonna say he was looking out for me today when that thing bit because I threw it. I was cruising on the way out. I noticed that every single fish I brought this bite, little bass from this big to this big, all reacted to it. They clearly hadn't seen it. Works great. The only reason I don't throw it quite as much as some of those other ones, you're like, well, why didn't you throw it at all the other fish? You can't cast it as far. It's got a lot more drag in the air. You can try and throw it on a spinning rod, but it's a beefy body. You want to get a good hook set. So it's a specialty bait, but when it comes into play, it comes into play. So I threw that, saved my butt, 4-aught, Gamakatsu Superline hook again. Same thing with the line, Seaguar 20-pound red label. That stuff is awesome. I keep big spools of it in the boat, 1,000+ yard spools. Daiwa Tattoo Elite 8-to-1 and a Power Rod 765 Max. It's an old school rod, and there's a reason this old school rod is still in action. Power Rod 765, honestly, probably one of my favorite rods to fish. Caught so much weight on them rods. Biggest tournament fish I ever weighed was on a Power Rod 765. Some of my best finishes come on a Power Rod 765 and a 734. Hard not to want to pick one up. So fish that today. It's recapping my tournament. As you can tell, kind of, you know, toss things around a little bit. But yeah, that's the setup. I will say, I haven't commentated on anything really about what happened today. And I need to look over that video. I need to take a look at it, and I'm probably gonna make a whole separate video about that. I haven't even seen it yet, and I'll probably make it its own thing. But thank the Lord. There's some times where you don't really understand what's going on, what you should be doing, what should be happening, or you get so blinded by your own vision that you forget that somebody else has a plan for you. I had some thoughts in the back of my mind today about how beautiful the day was and how blessed I was to be here. I didn't know that he was going to protect me from something like that happening. Yes, something went wrong. It could have gone a whole lot worse. My co-angler could have ended up with broken ribs, a broken back, a broken whatever. He couldn't swim. If he got knocked out and was in the water and let's say his PFD didn't inflate, he could have died. Who knows? So very thankful just to be here at all. Thankful to make this video. Definitely one of those eye-opening moments. Everybody can make mistakes. I cannot tell you how many times I've made that run. I cannot tell you how many times I've made early morning runs and followed boats through there. I cannot tell you how many times I've been there and I felt like I knew it best. Today I didn't, and today I learned a very valuable lesson. It's one of those things, it can happen to anybody. I've run offshore boats, I've run boats as big as 30 foot, I've run 16, I've run 12, I've run 10-foot John boats. I'm very comfortable on a boat, I'm very comfortable on this boat, and it happened to me today. It was one of those things, load changes daily. Load changes from fuel weight, live well weight, gear weight, tackle weight, passenger weight. Things change daily. I'm not gonna blame it on the boat. It was entirely my fault. I should have I haven't looked at the video to really think through what happened. But off the top of my head, what I feel like I probably should have done to been safe in that situation is I probably should have gave my boater either enough room and just stayed way back in the prop wash, or I should have got way in front of that wake there. I should have been running either farther up. What happened, just brief for anybody that's still watching, is that's a very sharp turn there in Haynes Creek on Griffin, if you're not aware. I'd taken the sharpest turn there, and I was on the outside of a wake. I saw that wake, and honestly, in the back of my head, I kind of saw it coming. So felt like I was prepared for it, and I felt like I was smarter than that, but I wasn't. So I was trying to outrun the wake to keep ahead of it, because if you're ahead of the wake, you're just running clean water. I was trying to do that. It got to that, everything I'm telling you happened within seconds. That wake that I was trying to outrun, it sealed up to that pad line faster than I could get to it, and it was pushing me into the pads. I was trying to stay on this side of it. Well, what happens is when you're rounding a corner like that, if you get up on a wake and you're close to the actual stream of the motor, those wakes, they're not coming out real diluted when you're running at takeoff 150, 200 yards out from another boat. They're not big rollers. They're sharp. It was a nice, sharp, high, wake. When I got up on that, it steered that boat. It lifts the bow a little bit, and then when it sets it back down, since you're already trying to turn and it brings it up, when it sets back down, because this doesn't weigh 5 pounds, it's not just gonna float over everything. When it sets all that weight down, the bow is cutting, the bow is now at an angle, and the motor, since it's trimmed up and you're running 65, the skeg is not catching much water, not enough to steer, especially coming out of aerated prop wash. So the bow steered, hitting clean water, and it happened in a split second, just shot the co out of the boat. It was one of those things, like if you've ever been in a car accident or a boating accident where you've hit some sand or anything, and you get that feeling like, oh, hopefully everything's okay, and you're like, oh, it might work out. I had that feeling until I looked over and I saw my co-angler in the air, and I was honestly speechless. So just a reminder, things happen a little faster than you want to. Some things you think you got control of and you don't. And one, a blessing we're here. Two, be safe on the water. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you want to see a little bit more and a little bit of a better breakdown on that video, I think I'm going to edit it and get it up. I'm not sure yet, but if I do, link will be in the description. Check that out. Thanks for watching, guys. One heck of a crazy tournament. Went from, I don't know if I'm going to fish it, to fishing it. Tough day, 16 pounds. We're in it. What we caught today, and we were very thankful to catch 10 today and also survive everything that happened throughout the day. Crazy day, wild. I don't even know what to say. So anyways, interesting but good tournament, and we're gonna head home. We're ready to be in a bed.